Oh, we're ready to go now. Wednesday afternoon, the Audible. Kim Bokamper here. I'm waiting on Leon. Leon, I can hear him in there. I can hear him in there counting down, but they're not telling me they're counting down. But I can hear him, so I forgot. Just wait for a little. Yeah, it's like he's the no speak him.
No hand gestures.
Get Trey on the seat. Put Trey in the big seat back there. Leon, come on, man. Anyway, it is a Wednesday, middle of the week. Dolphins and Raiders, Monday night. Alain Poupart with us from Dolphins.com. And Alain, it has been a bizarre season to say the least. And this week, I'm kind of a point with this team now. Expect anything but the expected, right?
It's not dull, that's for sure.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah. So let's get to the meat of the subject. That occurred since we've been on the air last time. The trade of Jay Ajayi at this point of the season. Obviously, there was some issues there, and I think I would guess my guess would be that from kind of reading between the lines, I think Jay maybe wore out his welcome here a little bit. What do you make of it? What do you think going forward about it?
Without question, Jay wore out his welcome, and Adam Gase was not a huge fan of Jay Ajayi by the time the trade was made. And you know that because they got a 4th-round pick, which isn't necessarily that high a pick. And they easily could have ridden out the season with him if it hadn't become an issue, and if it wasn't a case where Gase is looking at this as addition by subtraction. Long term, again, this is a guy who did not fit Adam Gase's vision. He's not. Let's be honest. Jay Ajayi is a very tough runner. Never gives up. He's very good carrying the ball. He's not terribly impressive in the passing game, whether it be picking up the blitz or catching the ball out of the backfield. And I get the impression that Adam Gase would like to incorporate more of that in his offense, to be able to have that outlet to the running back. And now with Kenyon Drake and Damian Williams taking over, maybe that becomes a bigger part of that offense.
And I think you add to that the fact that he probably was a guy that he wanted to freelance a little bit. He wanted to go against and look. I kind of harken back to Byron Maxwell, a guy that they did want to be in press coverage, and he'd run back and and give you a 6-yard cushion, and they're completing passes, and it just you got to do what the defense or the offense plays out, and I guess he just had other plans. So anyway, so now you move on without Jay Ajayi. Jay Ajayi goes to a Philadelphia team that's rolling right now. I think they're 7-1 right now, playing as well as anybody. Got a possible MVP guy in Carson Wentz standing there at quarterback. So we'll see how it goes with him. But as far as this football team, it's all about getting ready for the Oakland Raiders and bouncing back from a tough loss. And I know this. I've been through tough losses. I've been through embarrassing losses. And I'm sure the feeling in that locker room today is, let's just get back in the field. Let's get back into a game. Let's do what we can to win this game and get that bitter taste out of our mouth, because that is a bitter taste. And worse off, it was a Thursday, so you have 10 days to let it just fester in you and stew over that whole time. And I guarantee you, those 4 days off, they may have enjoyed them, but not as much as they would have enjoyed them had they won that game and not had to sit there and replay that game in their minds over and over and over again, because that's what you do.
And no question about it. And the other word that can be used to describe that loss is it was embarrassing. It was an embarrassing loss on every level. The good thing about that, if there is a good thing about that, is generally speaking, teams who get embarrassed
respond.
They're responding and want to come back the following week and show that wasn't us and it was just an aberration, and that's certainly what you hope to see from the Dolphins.
So we'll get things going. The other thing is, it looks like Jay Cutler is going to be the guy in charge. Goes out today, the first practice. I'm sure you'll find out tomorrow what he has to say about how the day went out there. I don't know if guys, did he talk today?
He did talk today.
And I didn't. I was doing something else. So what did he?
Yeah, I was in the locker room when he talked at the podium, but I was told is basically he's saying that he's playing Sunday.
Playing ready to go.
And yeah, he'll have no limitations. He'll be able to do whatever.
Yeah, his only limitation is going to be his pain threshold, because there's no doubt it's not going to be a comfortable situation. They can certainly alleviate some of that pain, but you can't alleviate all of that pain. So he's just going to have to deal with that. And from a team standpoint, if you're a guy in that offensive huddle, and the guy walks in with a couple cracked ribs, I think your level of respect for him goes up a notch or two. And I would think that everybody in that huddle says, hey, look, if I got to do a little extra to try to get this thing done and help this guy out, then I'm going to do what I got to do.
And pay attention to number 52 on the other side, who happens to be Khalil Mack. That's the Raiders pass rusher. The Dolphins definitely want to keep an eye on. No free shots like the shot he took against the Jets that got him hurt in the first place.
Yeah, no doubt. So they got their hands full. The Raiders gone up to Buffalo, had a tough game up in Buffalo. They've been, they were one of the teams who was kind of favored to be a possible Super Bowl contender after the way they did last year and get Derek Carr back after the injury late in the season last year. And they stumbled out of the block. Well, I guess they played pretty well early out of the blocks. Have stumbled since that, and they're struggling. They played Buffalo last week. Stayed, I believe, in Sarasota during the week for a week of practice, much like the Dolphins did last year when they stayed in San Diego, and I hope they enjoyed San Diego or Sarasota as much as we enjoyed San Diego. I don't know about the team, but I know you and I enjoyed it.
Liked it very much.
It was a pretty nice week there, So anyway, so you got a Raider team that's coming in limping, and a Dolphin team that's coming in limping heavily. And so this is going to be interesting to see the dynamics of how this game plays out.
And you got two teams that made the playoffs last year, and you mentioned the Raiders. They started off 2-0. The game against Buffalo, in terms of yardage, actually Oakland outgained Buffalo, but it's turnovers that did them in. And it's a team that has firepower. We saw in that Thursday night game against KC, Derek Carr lit it up. Amari Cooper had a huge night. So there is some ability there. They have not played up to snuff. And it's another team that wants to turn its season around.
Now, the other thing is they get Marshawn Lynch back after he had a one-game suspension. He's back, and I don't know what his I haven't really looked at his numbers yet, but I know this: he's a big, bruising, hard to take down rusher, and the defense is going to have their hands full from that standpoint, especially coming off the game that they just came off. But defensively, I tend to give the defense a little lean only because of the short week, and what I saw was a tired football team out there reaching for tackles instead of getting in front of guys. Kind of just it just they didn't have the energy that you're used to seeing out of this defense, and I don't think that'll be the case Monday night.
No question. I mean, they gave up under 300 yards to the Ravens, which is not a horrible total. They did not have a good night against the run. I mean, we're not telling any big secrets there. There were a lot of missed tackles. Again, the show it was a factor. Yeah, as you mentioned, the extra time of preparation now certainly will do nothing but help. Adam
Gase going through all of this and all that's gone on through this year, and I hate to keep bringing that up, but it's part of what they've gone through, and it seems like every week with this team, he faces another crisis, and the crisis this week was Jay Ajayi. You had the offensive line coach a couple weeks ago. You had a short week in between that, and then you throw back all the other stuff and. And man, I tell you, it has been it's got to be a very trying season on him, and one that I can't remember any coach having as many different things hit the fan as have happened to this football team and Adam Gase through the course of a half of a season. We're not even at a halfway point yet.
The only one I can think back was, and I hate to bring back bad memories, but it was here in 2004, and that season went sideways pretty quickly. But everything that could go wrong went wrong early in the season and then throughout the season. This is the case this year. The only difference is they're 4-3, as we were talking before. Right now, you look at this team, and the perception would be, while it's a disaster, everything's horrible. They're 4-3. They've won 3 of their last 4. They're just coming off a really, really ugly loss.
Yeah, and that really clouds the whole picture of it and everything. I think people have just kind of given up. But like you said, this is going to be a big week for them to come back and try to get things going again. You can send us your questions in here on the Audible. Kim Bokamper, Alain Poupart with you. You can just go on Facebook and send your question in. You go on Periscope, send your question in. Just go to the message bar. I think Leon will be sending questions if they come in when they come in, right, Leon? Are you doing that or no? Oh, we got nothing? I'm not seeing anything. Nope. Let me see. I'm at Grizzly Dark. Bo, how was the Grey Goose over the weekend? I think I answered that last week, or the last thing. Is there any way we can update this so I can get to questions? Anyway, we'll get to some of the questions here as we move forward. So let's take a look at Kenyon Drake and Damian Williams. The tailbacks are going to be filling in for Jay Ajayi. Certainly, you like first. What's up, Trey? Huh?
Little quarterback sneaking here.
Yeah, man, just come up. You see that coming right over there, right over the top. Kenyon Drake and Damian Williams, a great opportunity for both of those guys. And one thing you know about Kenyon Drake, he's got the speed to take it to the house. I think the only guy on the football team faster than him is Jakeem Grant, and by a close margin. Yep. So he can certainly give you the home run opportunity. And then Damian Williams, look, Damian doesn't have great stats this year, but Damian's a guy that has made some big plays for you, made big catches, and always seems, when he gets in the game, always seems to make a play that makes a difference. The question is, and then you add Sonoris Perry into that, who's mainly a special teams guy right now. But how do you see them spreading carries, figuring out who's going to get what, who's going to do what?
See, I think the guy who's going to make a big jump in terms of his playing time and his action is Drake.
Yes,
Damian
absolutely.
Williams has a really nice defined role right now.
A defined skill set, exactly.
Third down back.
Hey, Trey, thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, Trey. Pick up the blitz. So Kenyon Drake's a guy who's shown you he has that home run ability. And then, again, this is a term that Adam Gase used on Friday. He wants his guys stick to the play, don't look for the home run every time. That's something Kenyon Drake's going to have to focus on because at times that applies to him as well. But he does have that ability. He's a guy who's very, very interesting because of his speed, and also he's a guy who should be a lot bigger factor in the passing game because he's got very good hands.
Well, I'll give you this. The home run play doesn't always come from the outside. You've seen plenty of running backs take it right up the middle, get through that second level, and they're off and running. Yeah. So, I think that's one of the issues that they had with Jay is that he preferred to get outside. That was where he wanted to live. And you just get tired of saying that every time you get the ball, there's a 2-yard loss because you're walking right into somebody that's standing there in run support and you can't go anywhere. And so, I think if Drake just kind of does what he's supposed to do, there's a good chance that he can turn into a guy that gives you some of those big runs. I can't say he's going to be a 100-yard guy or what his numbers are going to be, but I look forward to the opportunity to see Kenyon Drake get multiple carries and see what he can be because I think he really has the ability to be a very good running back in this league. Oh,
no question about it. And to me, again, I think he's going to be a really big factor in the passing game. And that's something they need because they need some outlets when the pressure is starting to get to Cutler.
No doubt. All right, now we got the questions. We can get to it. I like how Leon works. He's very efficient, very, ahead of the game a little bit. It's great having him back here.
We love Leon.
David Holmes, Facebook. Any chance this week our offense can find themselves? Well, my question is, they found themselves for short periods, for short durations.
Correct.
It'd be nice to see this offense put together a 60-minute game, start to finish, start off fast. And when I say start off fast, you don't need to go up 14-0, but at least, move the ball, get some first downs. Don't go 3 and out the first 3 or 4 times that you hold the football, and just give yourself some opportunity. I think they've got the players to do it. I think they've got the ability to do it. But they just need to go out and do it. And it's really all it comes down to.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get some points in the first quarter, which has been a problem for this team all year. No question. Is this the week it's going to happen? I guess we'll find out Sunday night.
Yeah, we'll find out. Periscope, SoCal Fins fan. What impact will the Ajayi trade have in the locker room? That's a tough one to say. I don't know how many guys kind of rallied around Jay Ajayi. I don't know if Jay Ajayi turned some guys off for different things. Those are things in the locker room that you really have to be in the locker room to really know and have a feel for. You can talk to guys about it. You can talk to them all you want, but they're never going to give you the real answer.
No, and on the record, you're going to get. We like Jay. We wish him the best. Yeah. We'll miss him, but it's part of the business. I don't get the feeling that he's one of the guys in the locker room who was
a disruptive guy.
No, that he was a core guy that it would really shatter the fabric of the locker room. Him being gone, I don't perceive Jay as being one of those guys. So.
But I do think Jay might have been a guy that. Look, I just go back to last year in that first game when he mopes around because he wasn't going to be the starter. They leave him off in Seattle, and I just think that's kind of the guy Jay is. I think if he's not games where they've won where he hasn't got enough carries, he kind of dug himself in a hole and just kind of pouted about it. And so I think that's and I think that probably as much as anything war on this organization, war on the coaching staff, I don't know that war on the locker room, but I would bet that had something to do with the reason that he's not here now.
No question about it. And to answer that question, I think the impact, if any, would be minimal.
Yeah. Periscope, Duck Dog 1104. Why do players think they can freelance? Well, players always, players think if they freelance, they can make the big play. Freelancing is always about the big play. I can make the big play. I can do this. I think I told this. I don't know if I told it in the air last week or not, but I told a story about a guy. We had a guy one time that played a horrendous game. I mean, I was embarrassed for him sitting in watching the tapes, or back time it was filmed back then. Listening to him get berated by a coach all game. I mean, I felt bad for the guy. 2 hours in that meeting room, and he just got ripped by this coach. But he made one play where he tripped, reached back, tripped the guy up for like a 2-yard loss in the backfield. I'm walking into the bathroom behind him after the tape, and he's talking to his buddy. He goes, "Man, do you see that play I made?" And I'm going, "Whoa, wait a minute." Yeah. I go, if that was me walking out of the room, I wouldn't talk to anybody. I'd be so embarrassed and so distraught. But here's a guy that felt that one play that he freelanced on was the thing that solved and cured the whole thing all game. You just can't do it because, look.
But some guys do it.
Everybody is tempted to do it because you see a guy setting one way. You say, "I can beat this guy inside." You beat the guy inside, and all of a sudden the guy comes around you. Boom, there's a running lane. I'm talking from a defensive lineman standpoint, or any position though. Any position, you're a linebacker, and you feel like they're going to throw the ball underneath, so you jump on it and they come over the top. You just can't. It may pay off 1 out of every 10 times, but the other 9 times, the chances are it's going to burn you in a big way.
And if I may point out, Junior Seau made the Hall of Fame, and he was known as a major big-time freelancer.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But look, I tell you, so when I remember back in the day, we signed Thomas Henderson, Hollywood Henderson from the Dallas Cowboys, and he had come in with a pretty bad reputation. And he came into our defensive meeting room. Our defensive coordinator at the time was Bill Arnsbarger, who was a stickler for discipline. You just do your job. I don't want you, freelancing, none of that stuff. And he had a dilemma with Henderson, with Thomas, because Thomas would blitz when he was supposed to be in coverage, but he'd sack the quarterback. Or he'd drop into coverage when he's supposed to be blitzing and he'd make an interception. So that's the ultimate dilemma for a defensive coordinator, right? You got a guy that's not doing what he's supposed to do, but every time he does what he does, he makes a play. That was Junior Seau's career.
And he made a lot of plays.
Put him in the Hall of Fame, no doubt about it. Made a lot of plays and everything, but look, that's
generally not a good route to take.
No. If you're going to do it, you damn well better make a play. Because if not, then you're hanging everyone else out to dry. Facebook, Francisco Guadarrama Garcia is a 4th-round pick the market value for a Pro Bowl starting running back. I would think not. I would think if you're looking at the deal that sent Ajayi to Philadelphia, I wouldn't say they gave him away, but I would say they didn't get fair value for a Pro Bowl running back.
It's the market value for a running back that you're willing to trade in the middle of the season and who's gotten on the nerves of the head coach.
Right.
Obviously, if
you take that into the offseason and you get a 2nd or 3rd round pick for the guy, if he ends up with close to 1,000 yards with good numbers.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. This was a deal the Dolphins really wanted to make.
He has the same season he has last season, and you're getting a 2nd round pick for the guy.
After a season. Yeah, but it was clear the Dolphins wanted to move him, so obviously that
exactly. Does Philly seem like the winner in this trade? Well, time will tell. Look, they're 7-1 right now. They got LeGarrette Blount, who I think his numbers are very similar to Jay Ajayi. But that's going to give them 2 big, strong power runners in that backfield. And they still got Carson Wentz and a nice passing game, got a nice tight end, good receivers, a very good defense. I think it's a good addition for Philadelphia. And I don't think Jay needs to be a guy. The question's going to be, is Jay going to be happy sharing the load with a guy like LeGarrette Blount or somebody else that he's going to deal with?
And if however the Dolphins make out in this deal is not going to be something that you're able to see.
No,
it's not unless the 4th rounder you pick winds up 10 years being a perennial Pro Bowl player.
Yep.
But it's going to be more the intangibles of not having Ajayi around, who was grading on Gase, and having the other guys do it the way he wants it done.
Yep. Let me give you a little news on the day here. Injury report: Andre Branch was limited in practice with a groin. William Hayes had a hamstring. He did not practice. That means that Devontae Parker did practice. Everyone else practiced. So that's the extent of the injury report after today's practice. Also, some news about some college football news. Hard Rock Stadium has been awarded the 2021 National Championship game. They're in that bowl, getting that bowl mix there. So that'll be the 2020 season.
Yep.
Winner of those that will be the national championship game for the 2020 season. So the 2 years that season, that will be the after 2 years, that'll be the championship game. Cool. Pretty nice.
Be nice to see you've already
made a prediction for it. Alabama and the University of Miami at Hard Rock Stadium 2020. Get your tickets right now. You might as well book it, right? Go ahead and get it done.
Sure, do it.
Any surprise with you with the college rankings that came out yesterday? Georgia #1, Alabama #2,
Notre Dame #3 with a loss was interesting.
Yeah, but Notre Dame, they've blown out two.
No, they have
had two blowouts.
And this is the telltale 2 weeks coming up for the University of Miami with Virginia Tech and Notre Dame.
And Notre Dame, yeah.
You can't complain about being 10 the way they've won.
So they got Virginia Tech Saturday prime time, and then Notre Dame here.
Yep.
Next the week after that, but that's going to be a good couple weeks of college football down here. Nice to see the UM back in that hunt. Soccer 196 from Periscope. Is a lack of rushing yardage due to running back or our O-line? I would say it's a little bit of both. I would say there are times when the offensive line hasn't done a good job, but Coach Gaze was pretty quick to point out in his Friday press conference that hey, everyone's talking about the offensive line, but our running backs need to run where they're supposed to run, a la Jay Ajayi, and take 4 yards instead of trying to hit the home run every single time. Where I think I'm paraphrasing, but similar words to that effect about that, which leads you to believe that it wasn't all the offensive line's issues that led to their inability to run the way they have, or the lack of what they've been able to do this year in the running game.
And that's always the thing with the running game. It's never just the running back. It's never just the O-line. Just like Ajayi rushed he rushed for almost 1,300 yards last year. It wasn't just because of Ajayi. He also got some very good blocking up front. So everything has got to work in combination.
Yeah. Facebook, Rodney Philpott, can I have Leon's job? I'm not an IT guy, but I'm cool as hell and love my fins.
Leon's cool as hell.
Let's do a little in-house vote on should Rodney Philpott take Leon's job. Trey, what do you say? Trey says yes. Jeff, what do you say? Jeff says yes. Logan, what do you say? Logan says yes. Leon, what do you say? Leon says yes. So it's unanimous back there, including Leon. Send in your resume, Rodney Philpott. We'll see if we can get you in the driver's seat back there. Yeah, I'm sure you'll have a better haircut than Leon, that's for sure. No doubt about that one. Dolphin Don, do you think we'll bring in a veteran running back? My guess would be I think they stand pat with what they've got now. I think they've got 2 roster spots open.
They do, but
1 or 2. You've got Ted Larson
and TJ McDonald.
Ted Larson began practice this week. Began practicing today. Not sure if he's going to be ready for the game on Sunday night or the following week. But then the following week comes TJ McDonald, and he'll definitely be ready to play against Carolina. I'm assuming coming back because he's been out there working out and running, and although he hasn't been working with coaches or working with teammates, but I would bet that I would think that TJ is chomping at the bit to get back and get on the football field.
Yeah, and he's going to make a nice addition back there because he looked very impressive in the preseason.
Very impressive.
The other thing, they could create a roster spot at some point if once Cutler is completely back to 100%, maybe they don't need David Fales, and it creates a roster spot. I'm with. But here's the other question about a veteran running back who's out there.
Yeah, I mean,
trading deadline's over, so
yeah. Anyone that's out there without a job right now, there's a reason they're out there without a job right now. Speaking of that. You surprised at all that they signed David Fales instead of moving Dowdy off the practice squad and activating him?
A little bit, but then it becomes a case of if the idea is just to have that quarterback up until short-term until Cutler's back. If you bring up Dowdy and then you want to get him back on the practice squad, that means you have to waive him.
Yeah. But it kind of shows you what they thought about Fales, and really the reason that Fales didn't make the team was because he wasn't eligible to get back on the practice squad, and that opened the door for Dowdy. But I just think they felt he had more experience. So if they were going to need him with Cutler down and Matt Moore, that's the other question. Matt Moore, comes in the second half of the game against the Jets, lights it up, gives you the win, and then come back and boy, what an opposite game that he had. I mean, I don't think anyone saw that coming out of Matt Moore on Thursday night.
It wasn't pretty. I mean, he struggled like everybody else. He was off target on some throws where he had protection. He was hurried on a lot of other throws. I mean, everybody played poorly on offense, it seemed, and he was part of it. And that's the thing with Matt, who's a great backup. He'll give you the great game every once in a while, but
there's a stinker in there every now and then.
Correct, and that's why he's not a starting quarterback.
Exactly. Brody Tampa. Why don't we create plays, especially for Landry. Well, I can't say that they haven't. I mean,
they do.
I think they do make, look, they had the one play, where were we at? We ran a little, the little fake reserve. Yeah, the Atlanta play. But now that was supposed to go to Kenny Stills. They just over covered Kenny Stills and left Jarvis wide open. But certainly was a play that I don't think I've seen that play very much, where they've sent a guy like an end around, have him peel back around. So I would say that was certainly something there for Landry. But
and they called one or two screens to Landry every single game. So I'm not sure.
That's the other thing. I think at this point personally, I've seen enough of those screens. I've seen enough of those. The one-man screen out there, you throw it to the receiver. And for this team, I think they've probably done it this year.
Too much. 10
times maybe, and maybe gained total 4 yards.
Yeah.
Or they may even be negative on it. And so, I think that's we'll see if we – I'd like not to see that really anymore this season.
I wouldn't shed tears either.
No. Carlos Alvarez Jr., do you think signing Cousins is a possibility this offseason? Kirk Cousins with the Washington Redskins, he's been on – this is the second time he's been back-to-back franchise for a couple years, making some good money in each of those 2 years, but no long-term contract for Cousins. And, I was watching the game the other night, the Redskins game, and the thought popped into my head about Kirk Cousins, and I used to like him a little bit, but I don't know that Kirk Cousins coming here is an upgrade over Ryan Tannehill. Now, if you take Ryan Tannehill out of the picture and you're talking Jay Cutler, then it may be apples to apples a little bit.
Yeah,
in my mind.
Yeah, and I'm not sure he's certainly not an elite quarterback. No. I mean, he's good. He's got his moments. Put up some good numbers last year, but I mean, is he a guy who carries you to the playoffs? Yep. Maybe makes you a Super Bowl contender? Not sure. Yep.
Got a couple more, and then we're gonna wrap it up here. Ivan Halleck, do you think they still have a chance for the playoffs? Well, we talked about it a little earlier.
4-3.
They're 4-3 right now. You got to win 6. They got to win 6 out of the last 9 games to get to 10 wins. And 10 wins is usually a ticket to the postseason. So that's kind of what lays out for them. Look, they've got 4 division games left that are very, very important, and all 4 of them are late in the season and they're bunched together. I think they play Buffalo first, like 1 week, and then 2 weeks later, and then New England, and then a couple weeks later, New England, bunched together, right? So
for the last 6.
Yeah, the opportunity's there, but I can tell you this: they can't play the way they've played so far this season and hope to get to the playoffs, because they've got to start hitting on all cylinders. You can't have an offense that gives you a quarter or a half and a defense that's out on the field so long that they play well for 3 quarters and then get worn out in the fourth quarter and give up points. And really, you can't blame them for it along that lines. But so things have to change. Things have to change, and they've got to be more consistent across the board if they want a chance to get there. But at 4-3, they've got as good a chance really as just about anybody right now.
They have to get a whole lot better than they've been. But do they have a chance? Clearly, they have a chance right now. Unless I'm mistaken, they're tied in terms of losses for the last playoff spot right now, despite the way they played. So
it'd be different if they're 2-5 right now and playing the way they've played. But you're 4-3, and if you can turn the ship around, we saw it happen last year. Then I think the opportunity. Last one, World Series 7, Game 7 predictions. Been a great World Series. I mean, there been so many good games, and I'm kind of torn between that game that I forget what game it was, Game 1 or 2, where it was a low-scoring game. And it seemed like every pitch was a matter of life or death. And you had the edge of your seat, or the games that we've seen the last couple of times where it's just been a home run derby out there a little bit,
I think you have to like LA at home, and they got the deeper bullpen. I mean, Houston had the perfectly set up for them last night with Justin Verlander on the mound, even a 1-0 lead, couldn't hold it. And now you got to go back to
Dodgers at Chavez Ravine, Game 7. Tommy Lasorda telling the manager, you haven't won anything till you win this game tonight. I like the Dodgers. I'm
rooting for Houston, but I think the Dodgers will win.
I really don't care. I'm a Giant fan, so I could care less about either one of those 2 teams. I like AJ, the Houston manager, but kind of that's where I'm at. But I'm a California guy, so I would lean towards the California teams, and that would be the Dodgers. How about that, Leon? What do you say? Leon says, there you go, whatever, right? All right, that's going to do it for the show. We'll be back Friday. We'll be at St. Thomas Aquinas for the last regular season game of the year. We'll be on the air at 6 o'clock from St. Thomas Aquinas. Not sure if we're going to do Football Fridays following that when the playoffs start. So this may be our last Friday broadcast at a high school football game, or it may not, depending on what happens when the playoffs. So we'll keep you abreast of that as you continue to follow us here on the Audible. Alan, thanks for stopping by. Alan Poupart. You can catch him on Dolphins.com. I'm Kim Bokamper. We will see you on Friday. Football Friday, little high school action. We'll see you then.